Can I make a confession? I don't actually care if you work out. Now, before you guys grab your pitchforks or leave me a 1-star review for making such an outrageous claim, hear me out. I don't care if you exercise, but I do care very much whether you're training, because those are two completely different things. And if you're over 50, understanding the difference could completely change what the next 30 years of your life looks like. So here's the deal. Every day I hear people, they proudly say things like, hey, Coach Kev, I stay active. I walk in the mornings. I do some yard work on the weekends, play a little golf, maybe chase my grandkids around. And I always say, man, that is fantastic. Please keep doing all of those things. But I want you to hear me on this. None of those things are strength training. Now, don't mistake me. I love walking. I think walking is one of the best habits on the planet. But walking's not going to help you lift your suitcase into the overhead compartment when you're 72. Walking won't make it easier to get up off the floor. Walking won't help you carry your granddaughter after she's fallen asleep on your shoulder. Walking won't keep you from struggling to get off the toilet when you're 80. But strength training will. And here's what really frustrates me. The people who are strength training are often following programs that were never designed for someone in their 50s or 60s or beyond. They're bouncing from random YouTube workouts, or they're copying 25-year-old fitness influencers. They're destroying themselves with workouts that leave them sore for 4 days, or they're following programs that are all about building beach muscles instead of building a body that's capable of doing life. And folks, I'm here to tell you we can do better than that. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about why every single adult over 50 should be following a professionally designed, age-appropriate strength training program. Not because I want to turn you into a bodybuilder, not because I think you should be living in the gym, but because I want you to become stronger and more capable and more resilient. And I've said this before, but I'm going to keep saying it. I want you to be just plain old-fashioned harder to kill. And yes, there's another reason I'm excited to have this conversation today. After months of work behind the scenes, I'm finally ready to share something that we've been building that I honestly believe is going to help a whole lot of people. And we'll get to that a little later. But first, let's talk about why the future version of you is begging you to stop exercising and start training. Congratulations, you've just found the #1 over 50 health and wellness podcast on the planet. Hello and welcome to the Over 50 Health and Wellness Show. I'm your host, Kevin English. I'm a healthy aging expert and the founder of The Silver Edge, and I am on a mission to help men and women over 50 build the health, strength, and confidence to make the second half of life the best half. All right, beautiful people, let's go. One of the things that I love the most about my job, which is coaching people over 50, is that our goals have changed. When we were 25, most of us, we just wanted to look good. Maybe we wanted to look good at the beach or on vacation. And let's be honest, we wanted things like six-pack abs, or us guys, maybe we wanted big biceps. We wanted a little attention when we walked into the room. And look, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but life has a funny way of changing your priorities. So today, when I ask my coaching clients why they want to get healthier, why they want to lose a few pounds or build some muscle, I almost never hear someone say, Kevin, I just want giant biceps. Instead, I hear things like this. I want to keep up with my grandkids. I want to be able to hike with my wife. I want to travel without worrying if my body can handle it. I don't want to become a burden on my kids. I want to keep playing pickleball. I want to be able to get down on the floor with my grandkids and get back up without making those snap, crackle, and pop noises, right? Now, if you're someone who maybe makes those noises when you get up off the floor, don't worry. I still make a few of those myself these days. The difference is I can still get up, and that's the point. The older we get, the less fitness becomes about appearance, and the more it becomes about freedom. Freedom to travel, freedom to play, freedom to explore, freedom to say yes when life presents an adventure. Because here's the grim reality. A weak body slowly starts saying no to opportunities. No, I don't think I can hike that trail. No, you kids go ahead. No, I don't think my back's probably not going to tolerate that. Or no, I better sit this one out. And most people think aging is what steals that freedom. I don't. Weakness steals your freedom. And here's the encouraging part. Weakness is not a birthday. Weakness is something we can do something about. You know, last week I recorded an entire episode about making the second half of life the best half. And look, I truly believe that. But here's something I've come to realize. You can't fully embrace the best half of your life if your body isn't capable of living it. The greatest retirement in the world doesn't mean much if your knees hurt too much to walk the streets of Rome. That dream trip to Alaska loses a little shine if you can't climb the stairs onto the boat. Owning a beach house isn't nearly as exciting if getting out of the sand feels like an Olympic event. Your health determines how much of your life you actually get to experience. And that's why I spend so much time thinking about strength. Not because I'm obsessed with muscles, but I'm obsessed with capability. Muscle just happens to be the engine that drives that. So, in fact, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, you've probably heard me say that muscle is the organ of longevity. I will openly admit here and now, I stole that from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, but I believe that with every fiber of my being because muscle gives you options. Muscle is your fountain of youth. It helps regulate your blood sugar. It helps support healthy metabolism. It improves balance. It protects your bones. It reduces your risk of falls. It makes everyday life easier and better. And perhaps most importantly, it gives you confidence. There's something incredibly empowering about knowing your body can handle whatever life throws at it. Need to move some furniture? No problem. Carry 50 pounds of mulch across the yard? Let's go. Lift your kayak onto your roof rack? Come on. Help a friend move? Check. Take your grandson on your shoulders? You bet. That's the kind of strength I'm talking about. Not social media strength, but life strength, functional strength. The kind that quietly shows up every single day without anyone applauding. The kind that allows you to keep saying yes to life. You know, I always tell my coaching clients, I tell them that our goal isn't just to live longer. Our goal is to become harder to kill. And look, I know that's a little tongue-in-cheek, but there's a lot of truth hiding inside that statement. We're building a body that's resilient. We're building a body that's durable. We're building a body that's difficult to break, a body that's ready for whatever the next 30 or 40 years might bring. Because here's the deal. The goal isn't simply adding years to your life, it's adding life to your years. And strength training may be the single most powerful tool we have to make that happen. Now, before we go any further, I want to make something crystal clear. Like I said in the intro here, I'm not here to tell you that things like walking aren't valuable. Quite the opposite. Again, I love walking. I encourage every one of my coaching clients to walk. I walk every single day myself. If you're getting in 8, 10, 12,000 steps a day, fan-freaking-tastic. Keep doing that. Walking is one of the healthiest habits you can have. But walking and strength training are not competitors. They're teammates. In fact, I like to think of it this way. Walking is like brushing your teeth. Hopefully you're doing that every single day. It's simple, it's healthy, it keeps little problems from becoming big problems. Strength training is like going to the dentist. You don't replace one with the other, you need both. Unfortunately though, somewhere along the way, a whole bunch of us convinced ourselves that simply being active, quote unquote active, is enough. So I hear things like, yeah, Kev, I work in the yard, or I play golf, or I take the dog for a walk, or maybe I park further away when I go to the grocery store. Again, those are all wonderful habits. Keep doing those, seriously. But let's not confuse movement with strength training. You need both. Walking and general movement, those activities ask your body to do what it can already do. But strength training asks your body to become capable of doing something that it can't do yet. And there's the difference. Your body only adapts when you give it a reason to adapt. Think about it. If you can curl a 20-pound dumbbell today and you curl that exact same 20-pound dumbbell 3 years from now, has your body had any reason to become stronger? No, not really. It's just become really, really good, very efficient at lifting 20 pounds. Strength comes from progressive challenge. From asking your muscles, your bones, your tendons, your nervous system to do just a little bit more than they could before. That's how the body responds. So your nervous system says, oh, I guess we're going to need to level up. And it does. That's the beauty of the human body. It wants to adapt. It wants to become more capable, but only if you give it a reason. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine you own a truck. Every single day you drive it to the grocery store, back home, maybe you drive it to church on Sunday, maybe over to your friend's house. It handles those jobs beautifully. Now one day you hook up a trailer that's twice as heavy as anything you've ever pulled before, and suddenly you discover exactly where its limits are. Your muscles work the same way. If you never ask more of them, they never become more. And here's why this matters so much after 50. Beginning somewhere in our 30s, we naturally start losing muscle mass if we don't actively fight to keep it. Then we lose strength. Then we lose power. Then everyday tasks that used to be effortless start requiring more effort. Not because we're old or getting old, but because we stop giving our body a reason to stay strong. And that is a critically important distinction. Look, aging is inevitable, but frailty, for the most part, is not. So I want you to read that again, or actually, you you're not going to read it, but this is a podcast. So I want you to hear this again. Aging is inevitable. Frailty is not. One is simply the passing of time. The other is, to a very large degree, the consequences of what we repeatedly do or fail to do with our bodies. That's why I get so fired up about strength training, because every workout is a vote. It's a vote for the person you're becoming. Every set says, I want to be the 75-year-old who still hikes. I want to be the 80-year-old who can get up and down off the floor with ease. I want to be the grandparent who's remembered for saying yes instead of I can't. That's what we're training for. Not just a better body or a better looking body, but a better future. And once you understand that, I think you can stop asking, do I really need to strength train? Instead, you start asking, how can I make strength training a permanent part of my life? Now, that leads us to another problem here, a huge problem. Even when people decide to strength train, they're often doing it completely randomly. So let's just say that you've decided to strength train. Fantastic. You're already ahead of so many people, especially in our age demographic. But again, we're going to run into this other problem here. Most people don't have a training program. Maybe they have a collection of workouts, and those aren't the same thing. Here's what that often looks like. I see this all the time. Monday, let's say you're going to do a workout you found on YouTube. Wednesday, you see some ripped 26-year-old on Facebook or Instagram doing kettlebell backflips while balancing on a Bosu ball. So naturally, you're going to think, oh, yeah, I guess I should try that. And then Friday, you're going to wander into a gym with absolutely no plan. You maybe do a few curls, a couple chest presses, maybe some lat pull downs, maybe if you're feeling spicy, some crunches, and then finish with some burpees, because apparently every workout on planet Earth has to end with burpees. And I don't know what's wrong with y'all. It's like somewhere some secret committee got together and decided, hey, you know what people really need after a workout is some burpees. Look, yeah, come on now. But the problem isn't that any of those workouts are necessarily bad. The problem is they don't belong together. Imagine hiring a contractor to build your dream house, and they show up on Monday and they're framing the roof. Tuesday, they're pouring the driveway. Wednesday, they're installing kitchen cabinets. Thursday, they're digging the foundation. Friday, they're putting shingles on. Man, that house is never going to get built. Not because your contractor wasn't working hard, but because there was no plan. Yet that's exactly how millions of people approach fitness. That's how they approach working out. They work hard, they sweat, they leave exhausted, but 6 months later, they aren't noticeably stronger, because effort without direction rarely produces great results. I once heard a coach say, random workouts create random results. And I say that all the time because it's true. A great strength training program is not just a bunch of exercises thrown together. Every workout has a purpose. Every exercise has a reason for being there. The order matters. The number of sets matters. The number of reps matters. The amount of weight matters. The rest periods matter. The recovery days matter. The progression from 1 week to the next week matters. Everything works together. It's like following a GPS. You don't just make random left turns and hope you end up at your destination. You follow a route that's been carefully mapped out, and your training should feel exactly the same way. Now, let me poke a little fun at one of my least favorite phrases in the fitness industry. Maybe you've heard this before. We got to keep our body guessing, right? It's like every time I hear that, I kind of laugh, because muscle confusion is supposed to be a thing. Like, think about it. Your body, is it really sitting there scratching its head going, well, Kevin, that really surprised me today. Yesterday we did bench press, and today we're swinging battle ropes while standing on one foot. Wow, I never saw that coming. I guess I'll just gift you with tons of muscle. No, that's crazy. Your body doesn't need to be confused. It needs to be challenged. There's a huge difference. Your muscles respond to progressive overload, not to confusion. Your joints appreciate consistency, not chaos. Your nervous system learns movement patterns through repetition, not by reinventing the wheel every single time you work out. In other words, the goal isn't to make every workout different. The goal is to make every workout meaningful. Now, does that mean your program should never change? No, of course not. A good program evolves. Exercises change over time. Weight increases, volume changes, intensity changes. Sometimes the focus shifts from building muscle to building strength, or from strength to athletic performance, or from performance to recovery. But those changes happen for a reason, not because you got bored. And let me let you in on this little secret. One of the biggest reasons people jump from workout to workout isn't because the program stopped working. It's because they got bored or they got distracted. We live in a world where every day there's another miracle workout. The 3 exercise fat loss hack, the 7-minute metabolism blast, the celebrity workout, the Navy SEAL workout, the prison workout, the Viking workout, the caveman workout. And I'm half expecting someone to release the pirate workout any day now. Maybe it's going to be some sets of cannonball throws followed by, I don't know, walking the plank for core stability or something ridiculous. But here's the truth. Your body doesn't care whether your workout is trendy. It responds to principles, consistency, progressive overload, recovery, good movement, repeat. It's not flashy, it's not sexy, doesn't make for exciting social media reels, but it works every single time. So if you're someone who's been bouncing from workout to workout or downloading every new fitness app or following a different influencer every single month or simply wandering around the gym hoping inspiration strikes, let me lovingly encourage you to stop. Not because you're doing anything wrong necessarily, but because your future deserves better than random. It deserves a strategic plan. And speaking of plans, what exactly should an age-appropriate strength training program actually include? Let's break that down. So we've established a couple things here. First, strength training isn't optional if you want to stay capable as you grow older. Second, random workouts are not the answer. So the obvious question becomes then, what should I actually be looking for in a strength training program? Oh, I'm so very glad you asked, because whether you use one of our programs or hire a coach or even write your own, here are the things that I'd insist on. I got 7 tips for you here. Tip number 1, your strength training program should build real life strength. Look, I am not interested in teaching you party tricks. I don't care if you can stand on a stability ball while juggling kettlebells. I care whether you can pick up a heavy bag of mulch without tweaking your back. Can you lift your suitcase into the overhead compartment? Can you carry all the grocery bags into the house on one trip? Because I don't know about you, while making 2 trips, I suppose is technically an option, but I ain't going out like that, right? That's a hill I'm going to die on. Functional strength is not about looking impressive. It's about making everyday life feel easier. That's the kind of strength we're chasing here. Tip number 2, your workout should get progressively harder. And I think this is where a lot of people miss the boat. If you are lifting exactly the same weights for the same exact number of repetitions month after month, maybe even year after year, your body's got no reason to improve, to adapt, to change. A good program has progression built into it. Maybe you add 5 pounds. Maybe you perform 1 more rep. Maybe your technique improves. Maybe you move through a greater range of motion. Progress doesn't always mean lifting dramatically heavier weights. It simply means that you're asking your body to become a little more capable than it was yesterday. Small improvements, repeated consistently, become extraordinary results over time. Tip number 3, recovery is not a sign of weakness. It's a part of the plan. Now, this might surprise some people. The goal isn't to recover from your workouts. The goal is to recover because of your workouts. So think about that. You don't get stronger while you're lifting the weights. You get stronger while your body repairs and adapts afterwards. That's why sleep matters. That's why protein matters. That's why stress management matters and rest days matter. A program that beats you into the ground every single day isn't tough. It's just plain and simple a crappy program. It's poorly designed. I'd like to look at it this way. You should leave the gym feeling challenged, not destroyed. If every workout leaves you walking like you've just climbed Mount Everest barefoot, something's got to change. Tip number 4, your workout should respect your joints. So yes, let's admit this right up front. Your knees are older. Your shoulders have got some mileage on them. Your lower back probably has accumulated a few stories over the years. That doesn't mean you're fragile. It means you're experienced, and there's a difference. An age-appropriate program doesn't baby you. It simply trains you intelligently. Good exercise selection, solid technique, appropriate loading, a balance between pushing hard and recovering well. You should finish most workouts feeling better than when you walked in, not wondering which body part's going to hurt tomorrow. Tip number 5, your workout should train the whole human. One of the biggest mistakes I see is programs that become all about individual muscles. Very commonly this looks like today is chest day, tomorrow's arm day, next week is, more arms, right? Look, life doesn't happen one muscle at a time. Life happens through movement. As older adults, we should place more focus on building movements and perfecting movements and less on building individual muscles. A great program teaches your body to push and to pull and to squat and to hinge and to carry, to rotate, to brace your core, to stand on one leg, to move with control, to move with confidence, to move well. Because look, here's the truth. Nobody's ever thrown out their back reaching for a dumbbell, or at least I hope not, but people throw out their backs all the time, reaching into their washing machine or twisting to grab a suitcase or picking up the dog. We're training for those moments. Tip number 6, your workouts got to fit your life. Look, this one is huge. The best workout program is not the one with the craziest or fanciest or most novel exercises. It's the one you're going to actually follow. Can you realistically commit to 6 days a week? Fantastic, go do it. But can you only commit to 3? Fantastic. 3 well-designed workouts every week for the next 10 years will absolutely transform your life radically. Perfection is not the goal. Consistency is. Remember, you're not training for vacation 6 weeks from now. You're training for the next 30 years. And finally, tip number 7, a great workout program gives you confidence. And look, I think this one might be the most overlooked benefit of all. When you know exactly what you're doing every time you walk in the gym, I think something changes. You stop wandering around, wondering what machines you're going to use next. You stop second guessing yourself. You stop comparing yourself to everyone else. You stop chasing every new fitness fad or trend. Instead, you simply execute the plan. And there is something incredibly freeing about that. Decision fatigue disappears. You know today's workout. You know why you're doing it. You know how it fits into the bigger picture. And then you get on with your day. That's exactly how training should feel. It should be simple and purposeful. It should be progressive and sustainable. Not because you're trying to win a bodybuilding competition, but because you're building a body that's ready for everything that life still has in store for you. Now, if that's what a great strength training program looks like, what then are some warning signs that would indicate that you're following the wrong program? So let's have a little fun with this. Let's talk about a few red flags that I see all the time. So if you are seeing any of these red flags, you should stop and ask, hey, wait, is this really the right program for me? So look, none of these red flags we're going to talk about here by themselves automatically mean that your program is terrible. But if you're nodding your head to a couple of these, it might be time to rethink your approach. Red flag number 1, every workout tries to destroy you. All right, look, somewhere along the way, we started believing this ridiculous idea that if we aren't crawling out of the gym, the workout didn't count. I mean, come on, who came up with that? David Goggins? Look, there is a big difference between working hard and getting beat up. A great workout should challenge you. It should leave you feeling accomplished, maybe a little tired, maybe a little sweaty, but it should not leave you questioning every life decision you've ever made. If you need 3 days to recover from every workout, you're probably doing way too much. Remember, the goal is not to survive today's workout. The goal is to be ready for the next one, right? Red flag number 2, you're constantly injured. This one breaks my heart. I see it all the time. I can't tell you how many people tell me like, Coach, I always have something hurting. Something's always hurting. And as if that's just like a part of getting older. It's not, or at least it shouldn't be. Yes, little aches and pains happen. We're not 20 anymore, but constantly fighting shoulder pain or nagging knee pain or a cranky lower back, that ain't normal. That's not something you should simply accept. Sometimes it's poor exercise selection. Sometimes it's horrible technique. Sometimes it's too much volume. Sometimes it's just simply a program that wasn't written for someone your age or your experience level. Hear me when I say this. Pain is not a badge of honor. It's information. Pay attention to it. Red flag number 3, there's no progression. Here's a simple question. Are you stronger today than you were 6 months ago? How about 6 weeks ago? If the answer is no or I don't know, then that's a problem. A good program gives you a way to measure progress. Maybe you're lifting more weight. Maybe you're doing more reps. Maybe you're moving better. Maybe you're feeling better. Maybe you're recovering faster. But something should certainly be improving. If nothing is changing, then something's wrong. Red flag number 4, every workout is completely different. Yeah, look, okay, we already talked about this a little bit, the whole muscle confusion thing, and I get it. People love variety. Don't get me wrong, there's absolutely a place for changing exercises over time. But if every workout feels like someone reached into a hat and pulled out a random exercise, guys, that's entertainment. That's not programming. And look, sorry to all my CrossFit peeps out there, but your body doesn't need constant novelty. It needs consistent challenge. Master the basics, repeat them often, get stronger. That's where the magic happens. Red flag number 5, the program was designed for a 25-year-old fitness influencer. Okay, folks, can we just agree on this? If the person demonstrating the workouts got visible abs, sleeps 9 hours a night, has no kids, no mortgage, no stress, and their full-time job is posting workout videos, they might just not be living the same life as you. You don't need to train like a 25-year-old fitness influencer. You need to train like the healthiest, strongest version of you, where you are right now in your life. That's a completely different goal. Red flag number 6, more is always better. This is one of the biggest lies in fitness. More workouts, more exercises, more cardio, more intensity, more sweat, more soreness, more supplements, more suffering. No, just stop. Better is better. A smart 3-day-a-week strength training program you'll actually follow will beat the wheels off an impossible 6-day plan you abandon after 2 weeks. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Red flag number 7, you're just wandering around the gym. Look, be honest. You ever walked into the gym, looked around, thought, well, let's see. I did my legs. What was that, on Monday, I guess? Or maybe it was Tuesday. I don't remember. So you do a few machines, maybe a couple curls, maybe a shoulder press. Maybe you walk on the treadmill for 15 minutes, stretch a little bit, and call it a day. You head home. If that's you, you're not alone. Look, I've done that myself. And to be fair, you're miles ahead of the guy or gal who never gets off the couch. But let's call that what it is. That's exercising. That's not training. Training has intention. Training has direction. Training has a destination. Red flag number 8, you dread every workout. Now, this one surprises a lot of people. If you hate every minute of your program, if you spend all day dreading it, if you're constantly looking for reasons to skip your workout, folks, that's a red flag. That's a problem. Now, let me be clear. There will absolutely be days when you don't feel like training. I got those days. You have those days. Everyone has those days. That's just called being a human being. But your overall relationship with training should be positive. It should leave you feeling energized and accomplished, confident, proud of yourself, not defeated. Remember, we're trying to build a lifestyle. We're not trying to win an annual suffering competition. So let me wrap up these red flags with one simple thought. The best strength training program isn't the hardest one. It isn't the trendiest one. It isn't the one with the fanciest exercise or the coolest equipment. It's the one that safely helps you become stronger day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Because strength isn't built through heroic workouts. It's built through ordinary workouts, repeated consistently for a very long time. So by now you might be thinking, all right, Coach Kev, I'm in. Strength training matters. Random workouts are better than nothing, I guess, but they aren't ideal. I need a plan. I get it. But can't I just write my own? Absolutely. Yes, you can. In the same way that I could cut my own hair. I mean, technically, I could cut my own hair, I suppose, right? Would anyone recommend it? Probably not. Just because we can do something ourselves does not necessarily mean we should. Let me give you another example. Imagine you decide to build your dream house. Would you walk out into an empty lot, dump a pile of lumber on the ground, grab a hammer, and just start nailing some boards together? No, of course not. You'd start with a blueprint because the blueprint's going to tell you what comes first and what comes next and what supports what and what happens if something is skipped. And fitness works exactly the same way. The blueprint isn't exciting. It's not flashy. It's not sexy. It doesn't go viral on social media, but it's the reason the house doesn't fall down. A great strength training program is exactly that. It's a blueprint. It answers questions you may not even know to ask. How many sets should I do? How much weight should I use? How many days a week should I train? Should I train my whole body or split things up? When should I increase the weight? When should I back off? How much recovery do I actually need? Which exercises work best together? How do I avoid overtraining? How do I keep making progress 6 months from now? A professionally designed program has already solved all those problems for you. That's one of the biggest reasons coaching works so well. It's not because coaches possess some magical powers. It's because we've already made the mistakes. We've spent years researching and figuring out what works and what doesn't so that you don't have to. Think about it this way. You hire an architect. You're not paying for the piece of paper. You're paying for the thousands of hours of experience behind that drawing. And the same thing is true of a great training program. You're benefiting from years of education, of trial and error, of working with hundreds, sometimes thousands of people, and refining a system that consistently gets results. Could you learn all of that yourself? Absolutely. Sure. Eventually. But why? Life is short. I'd rather spend my time getting stronger than trying to reinvent exercise science. Here's another thing I think people overlook. A good program removes decision fatigue. You don't wake up wondering, what should I do today? You already know. You simply show up, you do the work, you check the box, and you move on with your life. Ironically, that simplicity is one of the biggest reasons people stay consistent, because consistency isn't usually destroyed by difficulty. It's destroyed by indecision. Too many choices, too much information, too much second guessing, and a great program eliminates all of that. One of the things I've noticed over the years is that successful people almost never wing the important parts of their life. Think about it. A pilot, he's going to use a checklist. Surgeons are going to follow procedures. Professional athletes follow their training plan. Musicians practice with purpose. Builders follow blueprints. Yet when it comes to fitness, millions of people walk into a gym thinking, I'll just see what I feel like doing today. Can that work? I don't know, maybe. Will it work as well as a thoughtfully designed plan? Almost certainly not. Because here's the thing, success leaves clues. And one of the biggest clues I've found after coaching for all these years is this: the people who make the greatest long-term progress are not necessarily the most motivated. They're not the most naturally athletic. Far from it. They aren't the people with the best genetics. They're the people who consistently follow a good plan, week after week, month after month, year after year. That's how strong bodies are built. Not through motivation, not through willpower, not through heroic, crazy workouts, but through intelligent programming executed consistently. And over the past several years, one question has landed in my inbox more than almost any other. And it goes something like this. It's like, all right, Coach Kev, I get this. Now, where do I actually find a professionally designed, age-appropriate functional strength training program? So I am so glad you asked, because this is the part I've been waiting for here. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you've probably heard me say the same thing over and over again. Every single one of you listening to this should be following a professionally designed, age-appropriate strength training program. And every time I say that, without fail, someone reaches out and says, hey, okay, where do I find one? And look, that's a fair question. Over the past decade plus, I've written more workout programs than I could possibly count. I've written programs for complete beginners, programs for people who've never touched a dumbbell, programs for men, programs for women, programs for fat loss and for muscle building and for strength. I've written programs specifically for pickleball players, people with home gyms and people that go to commercial gyms. I've written programs for people with bad shoulders, with bad knees, with bad backs. I've written workouts for people who only have 15 minutes to work out. I've written workouts for people who've got hours to work out. And for years, those programs have lived primarily inside my coaching business. If you were one of our private coaching clients or in one of our groups, fantastic, you had access to them. But I also knew this: there were thousands of you out there listening to this podcast who want help, but maybe were not in a position to hire a coach. Some of you maybe didn't need coaching. Some maybe just needed a great training program. Some of you maybe couldn't justify the investment. Some of you maybe just simply wanted to dip your toes in before taking the next step. And so every time someone would say, hey, where can I get a workout? I felt like I never had a great answer until now. So, beautiful people, I am genuinely excited to tell you that after months and months of work behind the scenes, the PrimeForge app is officially here. Now, this is not something that I slapped together over a weekend. This has become a bit of an obsession for me. Like I said, over the last few months, I've been working on this behind the scenes. I wanted to build an app that I wish existed when I started. Not another fitness app just full of random workouts. There's plenty of those out there. Not another app where every workout leaves you lying face down on the garage floor wondering whose idea was this. Not another app built around some 25-year-old fitness influencer with some impossible life. But I wanted to build something specifically for us. For people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. People who still have big goals, big adventures, big dreams. People who refuse to believe that getting older means slowing down. So inside our PrimeForge app, you will find professionally designed strength training programs for just about every single starting point there is. Never lifted weights before? I got you. Prefer to work out at home? Perfect. Only have maybe a pair of dumbbells and some resistance bands? Not a problem. We got you covered. You love training in your commercial gym? I got programs for that. You want to build muscle? They're in there. You want to improve your mobility? 100%. We got that. You want to get stronger for pickleball? Yep. You need shorter workouts because life is busy? We got you covered. Recovering from an injury and you need to ease back into training? We've thought about that too. And here's something I'm especially proud of. These aren't just a bunch of workouts dumped into an app. They're organized, they're progressive, they're purposeful. So you start where you are right now, and then you build from there, exactly the way training should work. And one of the things I've always believed is that fitness shouldn't make your life more complicated. It should make your life better. That's why I've worked really hard to keep this PrimeForge app as simple as I possibly could. So you just open the app, you let the app help you find your right first program, you press play, you do the workout, and then you go and enjoy your life. No guesswork, no wandering around the gym, wondering what to do next, no scrolling through YouTube trying to figure out if today's influencer actually knows what they're talking about. Just a smart plan designed by someone who spent the last decade helping people over 50 become leaner and stronger and healthier and more capable. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, okay, Coach Kev, couldn't I just find free workouts online? And yes, of course you can. You can download free blueprints for your house too. You can watch free YouTube videos on how to fix the transmission in your car. You can, of course, cut your own hair. Some people might even make that work. But personally, when it comes to something as important as the body I plan on living in for the next 30, maybe 40 years, I'd rather trust a proven plan than hope the algorithm points me in the right direction. So here's what I want you to know. Our PrimeForge app is not magic. It's not a shortcut. It won't do the workouts for you. But what it will do is remove the biggest obstacle I see every single day, not knowing what to do. Because once you have a great plan, all that is left is showing up. And if you're someone who's listened to this show for any length of time, you already know something about me. I don't believe consistency is built by hype. It's built by clarity. Know what to do. Do it. Repeat. That's how incredible bodies are built after 50. Not perfectly, but consistently. So today, I'd love to invite you to become one of our founding PrimeForge members. If you've been waiting for someone to tell you exactly what to do, this is it. If you've been bouncing from workout to workout, this is your chance to stop wandering and to start training. If you're ready to become stronger, more capable, more confident, and just a little bit harder to kill, I'd love to have you with us. You can find everything you need in the show notes for this episode, or just type in PrimeForge, I'm saying PrimeForge, PrimeForge, into the Apple or Google App Store. And I honestly can't wait to see what this community becomes, because I have a feeling we're just getting started. All right, folks, before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this one final thought. I don't know exactly how old you are as you're listening to this. Maybe you're 52. Maybe you're 65. Maybe you're 73. I don't know. But I do know this. 10 years from now, you are going to wish you had started today. I've been doing this long enough to know something with absolute certainty. I've never had a 70-year-old client look me in the eye and say, Coach Kev, I really regret getting stronger. I've never had someone tell me, I wish I hadn't built this muscle. I wish I wasn't so healthy. I wish getting off the floor was harder. That doesn't happen. What I have heard over and over again is this: I wish I'd started sooner. Look, you can't go back and start at 40. You can't go back and start at 50, but you can absolutely start today. And here's the beautiful thing. Your body is listening. No matter your age, no matter your past, no matter how many years you spent on the dieting roller coaster, your body still has the incredible capacity to adapt, to get stronger, to build muscle, to become more capable, to surprise you. I've seen it happen too many times to count. I've watched men and women in their 60s deadlift more than they could ever imagine. I've watched people who struggle to get up off the floor become confident, strong, pain-free, and independent again. I've watched grandparents become the ones chasing the grandkids instead of watching from the porch. Not because they found some secret, not because they had fantastic genetics, but because they made one decision. They stopped waiting and they started training. So here's my challenge for you this week. Stop asking yourself, should I strength train? That question has already been asked and answered, right? Instead, ask yourself this: what's my plan? What program are you going to commit to? Who's going to guide you? How are you going to make this part of your life, not just the next 6 weeks or 6 months, but the next 6 years, the next 26 years. Because remember, we're not trying to get beach ready. We're not trying to get vacation ready. We're trying to become life ready. We're building a life that can say yes to adventure, yes to travel, yes to grandkids, yes to pickleball, yes to hiking, yes to moving furniture without having to call the neighbor, yes to carrying your own luggage, yes to getting down on the floor and getting back up. Heck, maybe even yes to jujitsu. We're building freedom. That's what strength gives you. Not just bigger muscles, but a bigger life. So if PrimeForge feels like the right next step for you, I'd be honored to be a part of your journey. I'd love to coach you inside that app. I'd love to celebrate your wins. I'd love to watch you become stronger than you ever thought possible. And look, if PrimeForge isn't the path you choose, that's okay too. But please choose something. Choose a plan. Commit to it. Stick to it. Your future self is counting on the decisions you're making today. Because here's what I believe with all my heart. The second half of life isn't meant to be spent slowing down. It's meant to be spent becoming stronger. Stronger in your body, stronger in your mind and spirit, stronger in your confidence, stronger for the people who love you, and stronger for the adventures that are still waiting for you. So let's stop exercising and start training. Let's stop drifting and let's start building. Let's stop accepting what aging does to us, and let's start becoming the kind of people who redefine what aging can look like. So, folks, I want to thank you so much for spending this part of your day with me. And if this episode encouraged you at all, I'd love it if you'd share it with a friend who needs to hear it. And guys, be sure to check out the PrimeForge app. You can use the link in the show notes, or again, just type PrimeForge into the search bar in your app store. And if you decide to join us, shoot me a message. I'd genuinely love to welcome you personally. So until next time, keep building muscle, keep building health, keep building freedom, and together, let's make the second half of life the best half. Okay, that's our show for today, folks. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to invite you to take the next step by checking out the brand new PrimeForge app. It is packed with professionally designed, age-appropriate functional strength training programs built specifically for adults over 50. Whether you're just getting started, working out at home, training in the gym, looking to build strength, muscle mobility, or overall fitness, you can learn more and start your free trial by clicking the link in the show notes for this episode, or again, just search PrimeForge in your app store of choice. As we wrap up our time together today, there are two simple ways you can help support this show. First, share this episode with a friend, a spouse, a family member who could benefit from it. Word of mouth is still the biggest way this podcast continues to grow, and I truly appreciate every single recommendation. And secondly, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on your favorite podcast app, please take a moment and follow the show and leave us a 5-star review. It only takes a minute, but it makes a tremendous difference in helping more people discover this podcast. Thank you for spending part of your day with me, and until next time, keep building muscle, keep building health, keep building freedom, and let's make the second half of life the best half. Until next week, stay strong. Second, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click the like button and subscribe. Second, if you are watching this on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click the like button and subscribe to this. Come on, Kev, you can do this.